Fact, in that game against the Indiana Pacers, the Blazers trailed at one time by 14 points. So they're the number 4 team, is Portland in the Western Conference. Denver is the number 3 team in the Western Conference. The officials tonight, Tom Washington, Bill Spooner, and Derek Richardson. And here we go with Blake watching Billups, and Carmelo touches it, working on the young 19-year-old Frenchman, Batum. J.R. Smith trying to get it inside. Hit right back to him, and he knocks that win over LaMarcus Aldridge.
The reason he's in the starting lineup, they feel like they need a little bit more offense to start the game with Kenyon Martin out, Petro in the ball game, and George Karl said teams have been doing a lot of zoning in the first quarter, and he needs a little bit more offense out there to start the game.
Here's former Denver Nugget Steve Blake. Aldridge is picked up by Nene. And with the shot clock down to 7, Roy, Blake by Anthony, and finding Prisbilla with a quick Denver foul called inside. At the 11:09 mark of this first quarter, this is going to go on Nene for the first time.
Well, you talk about a valuable player. Steve Blake on this team is sort of the unsung hero. He brings such a toughness to this team. Actually played here for Denver in the playoffs the one year, so they know him very well. He knows them. George Karl spoke very highly of him before the game. And Kevin, when you watch Portland play, offensively, they try to either get to you early and try to run for a layup or get to the foul line, or they like to play in the last 10 seconds of the shot clock, and that's what you saw in that possession. Nothing early, and then right at the end of the shot clock, they made a play, and Prisbilla get to the foul line for 2 free throws.
Kind of a low turnover, high efficiency offense.
Exactly, which leads to them then playing good defense. That's why it's important for them not to allow Denver to get all those easy scores they love to get here at home.
Just saw Prisbilla at the free throw line. He's coming off a 10-point, 11-rebound performance last night up at the Rose Garden against the Indiana Pacers. The quick-footed Nene into Prisbilla.
Now, Nene has been a key guy for them this year after they lost Marcus Camby when they had to make a salary cap decision. Moved him to the Clippers really for nothing, and Nene has only missed 3 games this year, been very healthy.
Joan Petro trying to watch LaMarcus Aldridge, who is a terrific mid-range shooter. He, in fact, strikes more in the wing than he does inside the lane. Here is Carmelo at the other end, and he was picked up by Batum.
Now, Carmelo Anthony has been struggling from the floor, 12 of 41 his last 2 ball games. A little of that frustration, I think, reared its ugly head in Indiana the other night.
That's 29%. Aldridge again outside, this time over Nene.
And that's what he is. He's a mid-range shooter. He'll stretch out a little bit to the 3-point line, maybe a step inside it. And Nene really would rather play inside defensively, so we'll have to keep our eye on that matchup.
So 5 shots taken in this game and 5 hits by these 2 teams. Here is Carmelo Anthony. Little shake and bake on Batum. And the rebound is collected by Nene, an offensive board.
And that's what Nate McMillan said, one of the real keys. He's got a defensive rebound the ball tonight. Cannot give Denver multiple possessions.
Blazers come in here having lost 10 of their last 11 games in Denver. There's a quick foul. And it looks like Batum picks it up. He does. Very athletic, very defensive-minded player whose offensive game is a work in progress.
And I think that what Nate McMillan likes is for him to start the game, give them a defensive presence. Then when Nate goes to his bench, it's more offensive-minded with Travis Outlaw and Fernandez. There's a pass to Chauncey Billups trying to find Carmelo on that baseline, but they come in with Outlaw, Fernandez, Rodriguez, Bayless. So they have a lot of offensive weapons coming off that Portland bench. They have one of the most potent benches in the league.
Blazers have a road record of 13-17, home record of 22-7 for the Denver Nuggets. Here is Batum, good screen by Prisbilla, opens up the shot for LaMarcus Aldridge out of the University of Texas. 3 of 3. He's got 6 points to start things off for the Blazers.
Now coming off a good ball game last night, so he's right into a rhythm once here again tonight.
Starting at 21 points against the Indiana Pacers. Here's Chauncey Billups. Blake let him fire. And there is a good defensive rebound by Prisbilla. That's what he thrives in. Aldridge inside, and he's defended by Joan Petro. So Aldridge has seen a couple different defensive stances on him to begin this game.
Well, last year he played a little bit more inside because they did not have Odin. Odin's not here obviously tonight, but last year they really tried to get him working in the post. It's going to be a blocking foul on Prisbilla, and Nene just with that power just powers right through him and is going to have the opportunity to finish up the 3-point play.
What a great pass on the wing from Carmelo Anthony.
Well, Carmelo Anthony, it's been a tough year in a lot of ways for him. Carmelo, this is a beautiful pass down the lane, but when Carmelo came off that great high last year of last summer of winning the gold medal, and he's been banged up this year, Kevin. He's had the elbow problem. He missed games with the right elbow. He broke the right hand. missed games with. He struggled a little bit with the knees, said his legs are a little heavy here late in the season. So a little frustration physically for him that he's trying to battle through here as they finish this season.
Brisbilla picked up his first personal foul for the Blazers, and here comes Stevie Blake. One of the top scorers in the NBA is Brandon Roy.
Going right to the hot hand right now. Aldridge are going to go to him till they stop him. This time a little bit of a double team.
A little show by Jones. That means Blake is 3 for 3. Rebound by Carmelo Anthony.
And Blake shoots 43% from 3, so he's a very high percentage shooter from behind the arc.
He's having a career year so far. And here's a runner by Petro, former Seattle Supersonic. Rebound by Aldridge, and here comes Stevie Blake, who played at Maryland. Phillips is on Roy. You can see the speed of Roy getting free, and that's caught by Smith underneath.
Very deceptive player, Brandon Roy. Gets wherever he wants to get on the floor.
Smith again into a trifecta of defenders. They kick it out. Phillips, nice fake, bit by Blake, and a nice mid-range jumper for Chance.
I like that time that when the guy went by, he didn't try to shoot the 3. He relocated, stepped in, and got the 2. A lot of times you'll see guys reposition themselves behind that three-point line. That's a very tough shot to make when a guy has flown by you.
Big double on Aldridge across the lane and off balance, shoved on the play. And another foul. This goes on J.R. Smith, who picks up his first at the 7:45 mark of the first quarter. And took a nice opportunity here to visit our keys to the game. You've got 4 of them. And they all have a wonderful meaning, beginning with easy scores.
Well, we talked to strength versus strength. Portland does not like to give up easy baskets. That's what Denver thrives on. So we'll show you some of those numbers later. The rebounding, really critical because Portland is #1 in offensive rebounding. And Nate McMillan talked about how important it is for their team to rebound the ball. The bench, especially in back-to-back games, it's going to be important, I think, especially for that Portland bench to come in and spark their team. In fact, George Karl said that Keys would not let Aldridge, Roy, and the bench get going. And then Roy as a closer, one of the best in the NBA. Portland 7-1 this year in games 3 or less. Last year they were 10-2. They're very confident in close games. And then Carmelo Anthony, always that guy, has the ability to have big fourth quarters.
Right by Smith into Nene, who drops the sledgehammer. He's got 7. Aldridge has 10 of Portland's 12. So the big men thriving early in this game.
It's so great to see him playing, Kevin, and healthy. I mean, this young guy's been through so much in his years here in Denver and playing inspired basketball for the Nuggets.
There's a couple screens, too, in fact, for Blake, who's got the mismatch on Petro. He got 1 from Aldridge, 1 from Brisbilla, knocked out Phillips, and Blake working off him so well. But watch this thunderous jam inside.
Well, J.R. Smith is on the floor because he can create offense. He can do it on the dribble. He can get his own shot. He can stretch it to 3. Very streaky. This time he does a nice job of finding the open man and rolling down the lane to Nate for the finish.
Petro picks up his first personal foul. A screen by Brisbilla, but 2 has some freedom on Anthony. The rebound by Chauncey Billups. It's 3-on-4 the other way. Boy, Billups has really stabilized this team, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. And one of the guys who's benefited by him is J.R. Smith. It's a long lead. Chauncey Billups, who had a brilliant game in Detroit the other night. 21 in the first half, ended up with 34. I talked to him before the game. He said, it was great to be back, but I wanted to win that game so badly.
Chauncey's having a career year, too. 19 points a game.
And I think what they've done, too, with Chauncey is they are much more of a conventional team. Last year they played so much random offense. So much of the scoring was Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson. And this year they played more half court. I think they feel more comfortable in the fourth quarter, closing out games, although they've struggled a little bit here the last 7 games in the fourth period.
That's a good point. Aldridge over in the game. Rebound by J.R. Smith. Right out of high school to the NBA. They love his potential. They're giving him the start tonight. He dances on Roy. Petro, quick hands of Aldridge. Shot clock at 10 across the lane. Nene. Oh, and Smith flies out of no place and slams it down with a technical foul. Assessed after the jam.
That's what he'll do. He'll mesmerize you and then he'll terrorize you. I mean, the great finish, and you're about ready to cheer for George Karl, and then you hang on the rim. So obviously, they love the passion, and J.R. Smith is one of those guys. He is. He can shoot you in. He can shoot you out. I think George Karl's going to plan on playing him as a backup point guard tonight a little bit. And Brandon Roy misses that free throw.
Well, he's a pretty good free throw shooter, 82%.
With no Anthony Carter tonight, he said he might get Chauncey out of the game early, let J.R. Smith play a little point guard, and then come back with Chauncey. So J.R. Smith is a very, very talented player.
Kenyon Martin tonight not playing, back strain. Anthony Carter not playing. He's got a left thigh issue, and so they miss those two players, and here comes Blake. Off to LaMarcus Aldridge, who has started 4 of 5. Roy has put up one shot, but 2 over Petro. Another rebound by J.R. Smith. Portland has missed 5 consecutive shots, and here comes Anthony the other way. Nice move on Batum. Carmelo Anthony.
A little space that time with the off arm and a little fade back, the jump shot. Carmelo's off to a good start, as is the Denver Nuggets.
Anthony 2 of 3, and Denver, as you say, Doug, is off to a great start. 11-2 run.
Yeah, when they get those points in the paint, they are tough to beat, especially at home. This is J.R. Smith with a strong finish. He's in there for the emotional spark. He has done that. Denver off to a great start here tonight early.
The NBA on TNT, brought to you by the Hyundai Assurance. An automaker that's got your back. Isn't that a nice change? By Red Lobster. Discover more ways than ever to love lobster during Lobster Fest right now at Red Lobster. By the United States Marine Corps. The few, the proud, the Marines. And by Knowing, starring Nicolas Cage, in theaters Friday, March 20th.
Welcome back to Denver. The Nuggets with a 17-12 lead. Carmelo Anthony with 4 points in his return from a suspension for refusing to come out of a game. Doug mentioned it at the beginning of the telecast. There are those who continue to question the decision. But George Karl told me today it's not open for debate.
I think it's pretty simple. I mean, we had a, whatever you want to call it, a mission statement early in the season, a mantra that we're going to change our professionalism. We're going to be hardcore on certain things. And it was shocking. It came out of nowhere. And personally, I think it's gone.
Well, Carmelo Anthony says he has learned his lesson, that the next time he subs, he will sprint to the bench. That time should come in a few minutes, Kevin, when, once again, Lennox Glazer will be the one coming in for Carmelo.
All right, Craig, he has not apologized as of yet to George Karl or their organization. I'm sure, Doug, that you agree with the stance taken by the Denver Nuggets.
I think the key it wasn't personal. It wasn't like a lot of stuff going back and forth between player and coach. And Carmelo and George have talked about 4 times since that point in time. And it is, I think, flushed away. And probably a good situation that it's taken care of. And the best way you handle that is for Carmelo to come out and play well, the team to get a win, and to assure that that will not happen again.
Petro picks up his second foul. You take a look at Melo, who is averaging 16 points, and Doug touched on this earlier. 29%, little shooting slump here over the last couple of games. As you see Brisbilla make his second trip to the line. Travis Outlaw has checked in for Nicholas Batum. That was the only change we have seen. As Brisbilla again finds himself at the stripe. And here comes the Birdman. Anderson's going to check in for the Denver Nuggets. He'll take Petro's place. We just mentioned he picked up his second quick foul.
You talk about the loss of Marcus Camby. You talk about this summer, and George Karl said how lucky they have been to get Chris Anderson, a guy who's 3rd in the league in shot blocking. And he blocked 7 shots the other night in the game. He's blocked 5, brings tremendous energy off the bench. And one of the areas of Denver, they are not a big team. Kevin Nene is an undersized power player. Kenyon Martin is undersized. So they need the Birdman to play well and give them some defense around that rim.
What do you think the fans thought? There's a Nene screen for Carmelo Anthony knocking out Outlaw. What do you think the fans here thought this summer when they got rid of a former Defensive Player of the Year and Marcus Camby? Is he going to replace him with 2 formerly injured players? I mean, wow.
Yeah, well, I think they thought that they were punting on the season. Here's a turnover.
3-on-1, Billups into Roy. That is an offensive foul on Chauncey Billups, one of the strongest point guards in the NBA. He has assessed his first foul right there.
Now, Chauncey Billups is with himself. He should have given this ball back to Carmelo Anthony. He thought he could fake Brandon Roy and then get to the basket himself. Brandon Roy read it beautifully. Now, Kevin, this is when we watch Portland, the one big question on them as they wind down the stretch here is they've got to start beating quality Western Conference teams on the road. Right now, they're 1-11 against the other 8 teams that are in the battle for the playoffs. The one win on the road is that Brandon Roy goes back here and he's going to get fouled. But their one road win against New Orleans, Chris Paul got hurt in that game in the 3rd quarter. So when you look at Portland, I mean, what they have done on the road, 13-17. as this season winds down, if they're going to be a team that is going to be a factor in the playoffs, they're going to have to start getting some quality wins. And a game tonight is a 2-for-1 kind of game. You win against a team like this, especially on the road, and you give the team the loss, you get a win. That's like a 2-game swing.
Sergio Rodriguez has checked in for Blake. Channing Frye has come in for Prisbilla. Anderson picks up his first personal foul at the 4:16 mark. We've got the Blazers shooting 36% from the field, and the hometown Nuggets at 67% from the floor. Anthony has gone 4 of 5. Nene finds the Birdman. Anderson flies off the baseline.
Well, Denver getting to the rim too easily tonight. That's too many layups, and I'm sure Nate McMillan cannot be happy about this. 24 points they've already given up in this first quarter. Still almost 4 minutes to play. Way too many points on the road.
And about 6 minutes between shots hit from the field until that hit right there. They had a long drought. Roy puts it in. And as you were talking about his first hit, he's taken 2 shots. He's got 3. Anthony over Outlaw. Rebound by Channing Frye.
I think you're going to see Roy go to work here a little bit. He feels like his team is struggling. Really hadn't looked much offense. Look for him now to try to start taking a few more shots.
Roy weaving inside with a beautiful shot. Looking one way and throwing it up the other.
With the left hand, this young kid he's such a good player. I love his demeanor. You don't know if he's got a pair or a royal flush when he's playing. I mean, I love.
Well put. There's Chauncey Billups working inside on Sergio Rodriguez, and that is a foul on Rodriguez. Here they're going to bring in Rudy Fernandez. He'll check in for the Portland Trailblazers. He's going to give Roy a chance to take a breather at the 3:09 mark. Nene will leave. Here comes Clazy. Here comes Dante Jones. So some changes for these players. We're at altitude, Doug, of course. It's a mile high. We're in that atmosphere here. Did it affect you as a player? Did you find when you were coaching in the NBA it affected your team?
It affected my thought process as a coach. But the thin air. But as a player, seriously, you get winded a little earlier. And you get that second win, and then you're okay. And I think that the one thing as a coach, you don't talk about it with your team. You don't want to plant any kind of seed. Now, the PA announcer here will go on about a 3-minute spiel about what high altitude will do to the human body. So they want to make sure in Denver you know.
Fernandez and Rodriguez. Aldridge, Frye, Outlaw. That's the Portland 5 on the floor. Chris Anderson has picked up LaMarcus Aldridge across the lane. Nice defense. Denver shooting 65%. They race the other way with Linus Kleza. Phillips out there. Jones, Carmelo Anthony, and the aforementioned Chris Anderson. Outlaw watches Melo. Step out of bounds. Travel with the ball.
You can see what George Karl has done here. He's come in. He's kept Chauncey Billups and Carmelo out on the floor to keep their offensive keys out there. And then this is Brandon Roy with a nice finish. But George Karl a little bit undermanned, trying to make sure he has enough offense with his defenders. Beautiful shot that time by Brandon Roy, and Portland's trying to battle back in this game, down 8.
I think it's kind of like a 48-minute possession game. It's a playoff game, man. This game will have a lot of bearing on who wins the division.
Keep playing fast. Make stops. Make stops. Remember, this team played a long game last night. We want this game to be intense and aggressive from the very beginning of the game.
With a fast pace, and we know what happens when the Blazers, give up some points on the road.
Well, they give up 100. They're 5 and 14, and so you can see what George is talking about. Keep pushing the pace. A good interior defense once again by Chris Anderson inside. Linus Kleza gets his body on LaMarcus Aldridge. So right now the pace of this game is right where George Karl wants it. He wants to keep the energy of the game up, keep pushing the tempo, and not get into a possession game. And Kevin, as I said before, if Denver wins tonight, it assures himself at least a season tie of the series. And this looks like this Northwest Division could go down to the last week. This forced pass that time by Carmelo inside.
Here is Rodriguez, kicks it out to Fernandez, picked up by Kleza. Here is Frye. 2 to play here in the first quarter.
2 minutes.
Mismatch. Outlaw over Kleza. Missing the 3, rebound by Aldridge. Boy, he is a terrific player for this team. Coming off an 8-rebound performance last night. Rodriguez snaps it outside. Frye for 3. Rebound by Billups. The closeout there, by the way, by Anthony, who leaks early and flies the other way and gets the deuce.
Well, Carmelo Anthony's always been a guy who loves to get out early. Actually, George Karl doesn't mind that if they have enough rebounding on the floor, because he can get ahead of the double teams and score easily without having to play in the half court. Channing Frye is going to have to make shots with him. This is a guy who can shoot the ball.
Rodriguez, a late close by Carmelo. A short shot hits the beneath portion of the backboard, and Portland has missed 12 of their last 14 shots. What did Nate McMillan tell us? As you take a look at the quick release by Carmelo Anthony, and he flies the other way.
I like what Chauncey did on that play, though. He threw the ball ahead rather than keep it with the dribble. He threw it ahead to Carmelo, recognizing he had an opportunity, and he cashed in on it.
Across the lane, Billups hands off to Chris Anderson, who goes barreling into the defense of LaMarcus Aldridge.
Nate McMillan's got to be concerned right now, Kevin, because his team is lacking energy. And I know that Carmelo had a game off, obviously. He was back here resting, and Denver is not a back-to-back for them. And this is a Portland team that they're going to have to show some tenacity. Their coach is a very tough, aggressive, defensive-minded guy, and I don't think he's happy right now with their defensive presence in that paint.
And he said before the game, we've got to bring a certain mentality to the arena. Not when you're down in a game. We've got to do it well before we tip off.
And they're down 13.
Right. Denver's on a 7-0 little mini run right now. Shot clock is down to 7. Here is Frye trying to double. In by Anthony. And some help from Dante Jones. And here comes Carmelo the other way with no fouls to give. And a half minute to play, and a drive inside by Kleza, which you certainly say do it. Don't shoot out. Don't settle for that outside shot. Drive that ball inside.
Well, when you're struggling shooting, my feeling is always drive in there, get a foul, get a layup, get to the free throw line. And you can see here early in this game, Kevin, look what's happened. The aggressiveness is all Denver Nuggets right now. The free throw attempts, yes, by Portland, but look at the assists, look at the points in the paint, look at the blocks. All aggressive statistics that right now belong to Denver. George Karl has to be very happy about that. And again, Nate McMillan, I'm sure he was concerned about his team's energy. But right now they have been reacting rather than being the aggressor.
Frye picked up his first foul. J.R. Smith has just checked in for Chauncey Billups. A lot of emotions in this game. George Karl said the return of Carmelo after the suspension. First place is on the line. A quick trap of Rodriguez. Here is Frye. Rudy Fernandez making a move. And there is a turnover. The second by the Portland Trailblazers by Fernandez. And Johnson will come back in. Kleza will leave. Clock at 22.5 to play here in the first.
Well, look at that. Nate McMillan, he's going into his bench even deeper. He's now coming in with Jared Bayless. Sergio Rodriguez struggled, was not getting it done. Jared Bayless, a very strong guard. I think he feels like Nate, he told us before the game, maybe he can be a good physical matchup for Chauncey Billups. Both of them very powerful guards.
Nuggets come in having lost 2 consecutive games in 5 of their last 7, but they have won their last 2 here at home, including a win over the Los Angeles Lakers a week ago. Clock is down to 5. Carmelo raises it into Chris Anderson. Diving into the defense of Frye, and a second remains, and out of bounds it goes, and Portland will inbound.
I asked George, I said, how big was that Laker win the other day? He said huge.
Yes.
I think they'd lost, 9 straight games to the Lakers?
Yeah. Oh, Billups intercepts. It will not count even if it goes in, which it did. It will not count. Nonetheless, Denver closes on an 8-0 run. They may look at it, but they've wiped it out very early. Nonetheless, with first place at stake in the Northwest Division, the 2 top teams right here, the Blazers and Nuggets, at the end of one, Denver on top, 32-18 on TNT. Nuggets enjoying their biggest lead, shooting 65%. Carmelo has 11 at the end of one. Time now to talk. Presented by Charles Schwab. Here's Craig Sager with Nate McMillan moments ago.
Well, Coach, giving up 32 points in the first quarter, I know is not your game plan. What went wrong defensively?
Well, we got to get closer to these guys. Carmelo and Billups, those guys are making shots. Smith, they're making shots. We got to get up, square our shoulders, and get into them.
Last night you came from behind again, 14th time a double-digit deficit you've won. What's the key to your comebacks?
Well, it's a 48-minute game. We didn't get off to a good start here. We got to get more movement with our offense, and we got to stop these guys defensively.
All right, thanks a lot. Back to you, Kevin.
And a quick interception. Thank you, Craig. Here comes Clazy. He got by the defense of Jared Bayless. 10-0 run right now by Denver. And Doug, in that first quarter, they had runs of 9-zip and 8-0.
Well, Portland missed 13 of their last 15 shots, and when they're not efficient offensively, they cannot get back defensively and get set, and Denver's just taking advantage of them.
Here comes Bayless, sweeping in the paint, works on Anderson, ball knocked away, and we know what happens when Portland falls behind after one on the road.
Yeah, they're 7-14. This is a team on the road that needs to get off to a good start, but, you know, George Karl sent the message to a team. This is a playoff game. This is a team that we're playing for the first place in our division. You win tonight, it's a 2-game swing. It assures at least a season tie. They play, I think, the last game of the year, or close to the last game of the year, in Portland.
Outlaw. And Anderson came out there to defend. He was one of the top scorers off the bench last season in the NBA. That breaks a drought of 4 minutes from the field. They had missed their last 7 consecutive shots to the Blazers.
Well, they got to get stops here defensively. J.R. Smith this time over the rim, and just all the hustle plays right now going to Denver as plays and misses the easy putback.
So Outlaw's out there with Prisbilla, Brandon Roy, Jared Bayless, Travis Outlaw is out there, and here is Fernandez. Rudy Fernandez for 3 over Kleza. A much-needed triple by the Blazers.
Well, they're capable of doing that. Portland shoots 38% from behind that three-point line, which is one of the top 10 teams in the NBA. They're actually 6th, and they use that very much to space that floor, especially when Brandon Roy is out there penetrating late in games, and they can use that to get right back in the ball game.
Anthony Anderson, Kleza, Smith with it right now, working on Bayless. Dante Jones out there, too, for Denver. There's a good-looking shot on the wing. Assist goes to Anthony. Smith puts it in, and here is Bayless holding on to his knee. Jones with the defense, the former Dookie who has defense as his calling card. Roy is the one who fell. Jones picks up his first.
Those are the scary kind of injuries because you get a knee in your thigh, and that can get sore very quickly. So Brandon Roy, let's hope that that's not something that will tighten up as the game goes on.
Doug, young Portland team, second of a back-to-back, 20 games left in this season. It's got to be tough for a guy like Nate McMillan to get points across, as you mentioned, to this young ball team.
Well, you know, mentally, you got to fight through a game like this. Right now, they're back to within 13. They just got to keep pushing, and there's going to be a walk on Outlaw. And you can see what's happening is that Denver's trying to get up and push up at that three-point line and force Portland to take tough two-point field goals. And we talk so much about how that Portland uses that three. They make almost 8 a game.
Here's J.R. Smith, 3 of 4 so far his start for the 39-22 Denver Nuggets. Screened by Anderson. Loops it outside. Plays it again, working on Roy. Lost the ball as he was going up, and it's picked up by Rudy Fernandez. A little more than 2 minutes gone here in the second quarter. Brandon Roy is 2 of 3. Tries the defense of Carmelo Anthony.
See how they spread the floor here with Brandon Roy. He loves to play point guard, get in the middle of the floor, penetrate and kick to his open shooters.
Jones had the rebound. Here comes Carmelo the other way. And there's Outlaw on him. So cross matchups now here over Outlaw. Anthony knocks it in. So we've got Anthony being guarded by Outlaw at one end, and then he is guarding, well, in this case, he's going to guard Bayless, but he guarded Roy the last time.
Yeah, it's tough to match up like that. That's why when you don't score, you can't get back and get the matchups you want. This is Outlaw once again, and just drifting on that shot. Can't get it to go.
Good screen by Prisbilla to give him that room to fight. Here comes Carmelo Anthony. Did not make the All-Star team this year. Anderson with the screen. Anthony with the short-range shot. And Prisbilla is there to vacuum it in. Brandon Roy the other way, 2 of 4. And whack as he drives in a foul call. That will go on the Denver Nuggets. A physical team, and I think Nate would like to see his Blazers a little bit more physical if they can be.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that that's in their makeup right now. I think as they get older, they might be a team that would take some harder fouls, but I don't think Nate would mind that, especially to start a game like tonight, to just set the tone of the game. They did not do that.
The Portland Trailblazers currently own the NBA's longest current playoff drought. The last time the Blazers reached the postseason back in 2003, when they lost to the Dallas Mavericks in the first round in 7 games. No players from that team currently with this Blazer ball club. Currently, the Blazers, Doug, are 16 games above 500 for the first time since that 2003 season.
Well, Nate McMillan has done such a great job building this team. He and Kevin Pritchard, they're doing it through the draft with young players, making the right decisions. More importantly, when you bring a guy like Brandon Roy to your team, and he comes into that community, and for 2 years, all the public service things he did out in the community, trying to get those wonderful Portland fans re-engaged to their team. You know, some of the best fans in the NBA, and they disconnected with all the dysfunction that was going on out there in Portland. Now they're very proud of their Blazers. They're very, very proud, and they've got a team that is heading in the right direction. But I'm sure that right now Nate McMillan has not been happy the way his team has come out tonight. When you look out there, Kevin, their bodies aren't alive right now. They're playing very flat, and they're going to have to find a way to get themselves energized.
Nene has come in for Carmelo Anthony, and Steve Blank has come in for Jared Bayless. 8:40 to play here in the second quarter. Live from Denver with Craig Sager and Doug Collins, Kevin Harlan. They tried to go inside. Nene following over Chris Billa. Grabs another defensive rebound for the Portland Trailblazers. He's collected 5 so far. Here comes Stevie Blake, who gave this Denver franchise some very good minutes when he was in here manning the point, settled the team down a couple years ago.
He started at point guard in the playoffs for him.
Roy, 2 of 4. Guarded by Jones, as we said before, a very good defensive player.
Dante Jones tried to keep him out of the paint. That time you saw the strength of Brandon Roy. He got that left shoulder into him, put Dante Jones right on his heels. Portland's going to a zone here to try to defend the paint. 16 points in the paint here early for Denver.
Good ball rotation. Smith over. Rudy Fernandez for 3. J.R. Smith, a terrific talent, having a career year. We had a great second half of the season a year ago, and then in the offseason got that 3-year, $16 million contract as Blake drives on the aforementioned Smith.
And you can see Smith actually playing point guard now as Travis Outlaw steps back and knocks in that mid-range jump shot.
It's a big week for the Denver Nuggets, huh, Doug? They've lost coming into this game 2 straight games, and they have Portland tonight, first place in the line. Utah tomorrow night, as you talked before, up in Salt Lake City. Off-balance shot over Outlaw by J.R. Smith, and here comes Blake. That by Smith. We're seeing cross matchups all over this floor. Back and forth we go, and Blake falls and keeps it alive. Shot clock down to 10 for Outlaw. Good fake on Nene, who could not recover. Wow, what a shot is right.
Nice play, little crossover, pull back dribble, and Nene, how many times have we seen him caught out on the perimeter trying to guard either a LaMarcus Aldridge, that time a Travis Outlaw. He's the guy that wants to be down in that paint right there where he is as Outlaw grabs him.
Outlaw's come off the bench, 11 minutes, 3 of 5, 6 points. Foul goes on Outlaw for the first time.
Watch this little drag back crossover move, created about 8 foot of space before he knocked that shot down. And Kevin, if you're Portland right now, you just want to get this back to a working margin. You're down 11 right now. You've gotten off to a very slow start. So you know what, to get this to about 7 at halftime or so, you'd have to feel pretty good about it because Denver really came out roaring.
Aldridge in for Outlaw. Billups has come in for Jones. Fernandez remains in the game for the Portland Trailblazers, guarding Smith. Here is Nene. He's got 7. Chris Billa defending. His feet are so quick for a big man. Aldridge lost it. Aldridge hit his first 4 shots, missed his last 4. Here's quick-footed Fernandez inside. You can hear me. We lost our headset there for a second. You can't hear me.
I can hear you now. Yes.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, all right.
Well, this is that quick-footed Nene you talked about, the little up and under. And what happened on that play is Prisbilla got out of his defensive stance. He stood straight up, and when he did, Nene just rolled right around him. You got to stay down in that athletic position and keep the man in front of you.
Here's Kleza. And now Billups drawing the defense of Blake. Screen by Chauncey. Here comes Kleza on the fly. Rebound Nene. Kleza for 3. 46% of his overall shooting is from three-point territory. That's a high mark, but the guy knocks one in right there. Linus Kleza from three-point territory this season, 34%. Same as last year. This ties the biggest lead for the Denver Nuggets tonight, with 5:41 to play in the first half on TNT.
NBA on TNT. Brought to you by Halo Wars. Only on Xbox 360. In stores now.
We are back in Denver right now. Let's take a look at the Aaron's upcoming schedule. What the Blazers, Doug, are facing tonight. Denver will face tomorrow night in Utah. That's where they play the Utah Jazz, which is one of the hottest teams right now in the NBA.
Yeah, it's part of the NBA schedule. Last week we had the Lakers were home against the Phoenix Suns, won that game handily. Got in at 4 o'clock in the morning here against Denver, and Denver beat them here. So it's part of the NBA playing through that schedule. And this is a game tonight that Denver, with the rest, has got to find a way to win, especially head-to-head against a team that's trying to beat them in their division.
Aldridge is 4 of 8. Headed by Anderson, who's got a handful of blocks so far in this game. Shot clock is down to 6. There is Blake. Switch on defense, Nene. There was a screen by Prisbilla in over Smith. This is Roy, who has started 3 of 6 from the field.
See, LaMarcus Aldridge hit his first 4 shots. He's missed his last 4, but they're now double-teaming him in the post, forcing him to give the ball up. Nuggets
are shooting 56% from the floor. Blazers 38%. Sanderson goes inside. Prisbilla just ripped it away. Here comes Stevie Blake. Under 5 to play here in the first quarter. First half, excuse me. And here's Roy. 8 points, couple free throws. Aldridge, who's missed 4 in a row. Nene picks up the defense there.
I got it.
Rebound by Chauncey Billups. Rebounding advantage goes to the Nuggets. Shooting advantage goes to the Nuggets. 3-point shooting. There's a good screen by Anderson. Billups trying to sneak it inside. And again, Prisbilla picks it up and saves it for the Blazers, who come the other way. Here is Roy, the alley for Aldridge, who climbs high and slams it down hard.
Now, beautiful pass that time by Brandon Roy. A couple careless plays by Denver. They've done such a good job. Only had 4 turnovers. They had 2 turnovers in the last 2 possessions. And that's how you let teams get back in the ball game. You stop getting quality shots and you turn the ball over.
Fernandez is on Clayton. Double with Prisbilla. He travels with the ball. That's the 3rd.
3 straight turnovers.
Yep.
They had 4 the entire game up until that point, and this is what happens. You turn the ball over, and Portland's a team that doesn't run much, but they're opportunistic here off the turnover and get the slam by Aldridge. He finally scores again after hitting his first 4 shots, then missing 5 in a row.
Carmelo comes in for Clayton. For the Blazers, Fernandez, Roy, Prisbilla, Blake, and Aldridge. Rudy Fernandez, Blake, Chauncey Billups out there with Anthony, Smith, Nene, and Anderson, and that is a 3-point hit, and it goes in for 6 in Rudy Fernandez.
Well, that's 2 threes he's hit now. He's very capable. That's a guy at 22 against the United States in the gold medal game for Spain, so he is very, very capable of having a big night.
And I think that's, there's a pass inside by Carmelo, who's had a couple of sweet throws in a congested lane across the lane and off balance into Roy. What a shot by Carmelo Anthony, who has gone 7 of 10, 15 points in 16 minutes.
Yeah, I like the way he's played tonight, though. He's been very, very efficient in his game. When he's hitting that outside jump shot, you really can't guard him, Kev.
Went off the 1-game suspension. Doug outlined that before, refusing to go in a game come out of the game a couple of games ago, and he was suspended by the team as Aldridge finds 2 inside, facing some double-team pressure. But he's come out, an emotional game for the Nuggets. First place is on the line, and of course the return of Carmelo.
Now Carmelo is playing passionately tonight, though. He's not emotional in the game tonight. He's very much passionate. It's Chauncey Billups, that little mid-range jump shot that he's so good at the shooting coming off that middle pick and roll.
Billups 1 of 4.
Tough shot here by Carmelo. They turn the ball over 4 straight times, almost a 5th. He finds the loose ball here and the floater. They're trying to keep this Portland Trailblazer team at bay. They lead by 11 with 2:42 to go here in the second quarter.
We know what we're playing for. Okay, we know what we're playing for. What we do, we leave it out on the floor. Okay, 48 minutes, and we're going to need everybody.
Right here, we chip away. We chip away. We got to make sure we rebound. We chip away. Hey, fellas, that team is just playing harder than us. Okay? That's all it is. Everything is harder.
And the Portland Trailblazers, who come into tonight having won 3 consecutive games, are at the top of the ranks, Doug, when they've trailed by 10 or more this season.
That's what he said, just keep chipping away, get some defensive stops. There's J.R. Smith with a long three and got a chance to get this under single digits now. Portland's working themselves in the game. They shot 32% in the first quarter. They shot 57% in this quarter. So Nate McMillan finding some combinations that will work and get him back in the ball game. Sometimes you have to stretch your bench to do that.
Here is Brisbilla, got great position. Aldridge who leads him right now with 14. Hits up number 16 right there. And Portland on a 9-2 run. They get it inside. Aldridge converts. The foul goes on Nene for the second time.
Beautiful play by Brandon Roy there. Both players went out, and Brisbilla just stepped into the lane. And LaMarcus Aldridge, so important to this team, Kevin. He got off to the great start. He had his first 4 shots, and he missed 5 in a row. Now he's stepped back and made some big shots. And with all that's said and done here, if he makes his free throw, it's an 8-point game.
So one thing about LaMarcus Aldridge, he is one of the fastest big men in the NBA. I mean, he can really scoot up and down the floor.
One of the things they tried to do with him last year when Greg Oden wasn't playing was establish him and teach him how to play in the post, because his tendency is to drift out and shoot jump shots. And now with Brisbilla and when Oden's healthy, then he can step out and shoot those jump shots.
Melo 7 of 10, picked up by Roy. Rebound by Rudy Fernandez. And he said Fernandez had the good game in the Olympics against the U.S. Don't you think that sold him, Doug? I can play in the NBA. I'm competing out here against the best in the league right now.
And also sold his coach, Nate McMillan, who was coaching against him in that game.
Now Melo's on Blake. Another mismatch. The drive and a travel by Steve Blake. Doug, you were talking before about this young team that Nate McMillan has. I think he'd like to see this young team maybe show a little personality too, maybe even calling out some guys on his team.
Well, I think he calls it leadership, where they hold each other accountable. And actually they did that. They lost 2 tough games on the road, San Antonio and Houston. Went to Minnesota. Brandon Roy was very vocal, as was Joel Brisbilla, and just holding each other accountable. Demands of excellence that doesn't come necessarily from the coach all the time, but from the guys on the floor. Normally veteran teams are better at that than younger teams.
Chauncey is 1 of 5. Roy with it. He is 3 of 6. Brisbilla with a nice game and 3 points and 7 rebounds. And Smith had his hands on it. Shot clock is at 6. First place is on the line here, as we told you before. Second place in the Northwest, Portland. First place by a half game in the Northwest, the Denver Nuggets. And looming large in third place, the Utah Jazz.
Utah playing very well right now.
Roy guarded by Billups. Brandon is 3 of 7.
Darren Williams is healthy, playing great basketball, and now Carlos Boozer is back.
Smith drives into Aldridge and then put in by basket interference, will not count. So that means Denver has missed their last 5. Anderson got his hand inside the cylinder.
Well, one of the things that Portland has done is they've closed down the paint. Kevin, Denver had about 18 points midway or early in this second. 20 now in the paint. And what Nate McMillan has done, he's gone to a zone and he's forced some outside shots. And one of the things about Denver, sometimes they get a little bit impatient offensively. They fall in love with those outside jump shots. And against that zone, you can still go inside. You don't have to shoot the ball quickly from the perimeter. And sometimes teams see that zone and they start launching outside shots. So I think Nate did a nice job of changing the momentum of this game by just showing some possessions of zone.
Jones in for Anderson. Outlaw is in for Brisbilla. And coming up, the T-Mobile halftime report. Ernie Charles and the Jet will have analysis of the first half. Nice touch passing, ball movement, which they need. McMillan told us that before the game. Working on Nene is Outlaw. Boy, he's come off the bench, Doug, and been terrific. 11 minutes, 4 of 6, 8 points, all in this second quarter.
Well, Denver caught scrambling on the perimeter that time. Nene once again was caught trying to trace Travis Outlaw on the perimeter, and just too quick for him out there with that jump shot.
Both teams have a foul to give. Dancing is Carmelo across the lane on Outlaw. Nice move by Anthony. 17, that is equaling the game high of Aldridge with 17.
Well, once again, going back in the paint, that's one of the strengths of the Denver Nuggets. Get that ball in the lane.
So the Nuggets on top by 8. They've been up by as many as 16. Denver has trailed only by 4 points. National coverage of the NBA continues tomorrow on ESPN. It's Cleveland at Boston, followed by these same Nuggets at Utah. Coverage starts 7:30 Eastern time. Sunday on ABC, it's the Suns and Spurs. Coverage at 3 o'clock Eastern. And Tuesday on NBA TV, it's the much talked about fan night as the Mavs take on the Suns. Coverage 7 o'clock Eastern time with NBA game time. Well, Doug, let's step back. 17 seconds to play in this first half. Things you thought you'd see and things you've actually seen.
Well, Denver got off to a great start, a 32-point first quarter, and Portland was really struggling at only 18. The tempo much better now in favor of Portland. They got to the game now where it's about a 100-point game, which if you can keep it under 100, I think Portland has a great chance to win the game.
Here comes Roy, 3 of 7. Picked up by the defensive-minded Jones. They spread the floor. Wow. From Smith. What a shot by Roy, and Jones is all over him.
Well, I thought he got fouled on that play as well. I don't know how he made that shot.
Smith over Fernandez. Oh, he caught it! He knocked it over Fernandez! J.R. Smith right between the eyes with a buzzer-beating triple, much to the surprise of Nate McMillan. Let's see if it counts. Watch the time, watch the signal, and it's away. It's good. It will count. They will review, but it will stand. And the demoralizing 3 heading to the locker room.
That's J.R. Smith. Once again, I told you he can mesmerize you with that talent of his.
Carmelo Anthony put in 17 points in 19 minutes. He is standing by with our Craig Singer.
Well, Carmelo, great start for you, 17 points, but what the heck happened in that last play when J.R. Smith threw that in from nearly half court?
He made the shot. He got fouled. He made the shot, though.
How anxious for you to play tonight after having to sit out Tuesday's game with that suspension?
I just want to come out here and be aggressive from the beginning. I wasn't, I'm not even worried about that. Me and George talked. It's behind us. I told him, I'm sorry for what happened. I took it like a man, and I'm here tonight, and we winning the game.
You had a comfortable lead of 16, but knowing Portland, how they come from behind so often, they've now cut into that lead. What's the key to keeping them at bay in the second half?
Just keep being aggressive. Come out the way we did in the first half, play some defense like we've been doing, and we'll be all right.
All right, thanks a lot. And as Kevin Harlan mentioned, that three-pointer by J.R. Smith should count, but they're still reviewing it. We'll come back with an official word of the T-Mobile halftime report. EJ, Kenny, and Charles in Atlanta.
Nine-point ball game, not bad on a back-to-back. Okay, not bad on a back-to-back. Now what we have to do is tighten up defensively. Okay, tighten up defensively. Offensively, we got to move faster. Okay, we got to play harder. Okay, that's the gut check we talked about. We got to dig down. We got to dig down. Okay, and we come out and we win the third quarter, and then we win the fourth quarter.
Well, the Trailblazers closed out that second quarter on a 14-7 run as our game tonight is presented by the United States Marine Corps with Doug Collins, Kevin Harlan. We were talking, Doug, about the shot made by Smith at the buzzer, but the shot before that really caught your eye.
Well, Brandon Roy, I thought he got fouled on the shot, and there was no foul called. And had there been a foul called, he would have been at the free throw line. And I'm not sure that Denver would have been able to get that shot off. So that's a big shot for Denver. That lead had been cut to 6. Portland had been severely, I thought, outplayed. And that lead is pushed back to 9. So big shot there in a momentum play, carrying Denver into that halftime break.
Portland got a nice start from LaMarcus Aldridge in the game.
Went to him early, hit his first 4 shots, and then went cold and missed his next 5, but finished strong with 17 points. And a little inside-outside here, LaMarcus Aldridge. We know he can shoot the jump shots, and 3-point play opportunity. Nice pass from Fisbella. And then Carmelo Anthony had a very nice first half. A little pull-up jump shot here by Carmelo. He had 17 on 8 of 12 shooting. This was a floater on a broken play. And I thought one of the things that Portland was able to get themselves back in the game with, I thought that Denver got a little careless when they had the lead. They had 5 turnovers late in that second quarter that led to 10 points for the Portland Trailblazers. And I'm sure George Karl talked about taking care of the basketball.
Doug, time now for Running the Numbers, presented by the motion picture Knowing. It's in theaters March 20th. 54% shooting by the Nuggets in that first half.
Well, 18 points in the paint early for Denver, and then I thought that Portland did a better job of defending the paint. 13 assists by Denver in the game, 6 blocks, a lot of the energy plays, and Nate McMillan talked about not bad being down 9 at half, but he felt like that Denver had played harder in the first half than they had, so Be interesting to see how that they get out of the gate here, and I'm sure that George Karl has talked about his team is about energy to start this third period.
Let's take a look at who's out there. Nicholas Batum back on the floor with Roy. Aldridge, Prisbilla sets a screen for Blake. And Nene comes out on Aldridge. Roy, Batum, he traveled with the ball. Carmelo Anthony's out there along with Chauncey Billups, Johan Petro, Nene, and J.R. Smith. And Craig, what do you have?
Well, I talked to Nate McMillan coming out of the locker room, and the first thing he said to me, he says, yeah, it's 9 points, but it should have been 5. They should have called that foul. Brandon Roy should have been the free throw line. J.R. Smith should have made that 3, and I hope Doug Collins mentioned that on the air. And I said, oh, yeah, he addressed it. He said, no, I think we have a workable situation now. He said, we're trying to get back in the third quarter, win that quarter, win the fourth quarter as well. And he says, I think that we can win this game.
Prisbilla with his 8th rebound so far. Craig, thank you very much. Doug mentioned it, and Doug was all over that. Roy drew the double. Ball rotation, Blake, and now Roy. Petro late close. Tap in by Prisbilla. And that's the first offensive rebound for the Blazers since late in the first quarter.
And they're the #1 offensive rebounding team in the league. They get 15 points a game on second chance points. So Denver has done a nice job with their defensive rebounding tonight.
Here's Phillips, 1 of 5 into Blake. So strong, Chauncey can always get his shot, but his shot is not dropping tonight. Blake, Batum, Aldridge. Marcus Aldridge hit his first 4 shots, but has been staggering since. 7 of 12 in this game.
Another offensive rebound for the Portland Trailblazers, and Batum is going to get to the free throw line. So George Karl cannot be happy here how his team has come out. They came out with great energy, had 32 points in that first quarter. In the second quarter, they get only 21, and that's with a 3-point heave at the end of that half by J.R. Smith.
That is Petro's 3rd personal foul. 10:25 to play here in the third quarter. Waiting for my promo, and here it is. Join Holly Hunter and the rest of the cast in an all-new episode of Saving Grace, Monday at 10/9 Central. Only on TNT. The next step, Doug, from rising team to playoff team. That's where the Blazers find themselves.
Road swagger. You got to start feeling that you can play on the road like you play at home. That's what the really, really good teams do. It doesn't matter where you play.
Nene gets a couple of screens to Carmelo, who takes the shot over Batum. Rebound by Nene. Here's Chauncey Billups, 1 of 7. Inside Carmelo. Great feed. Down it goes. He beat Batum to the rim.
That's what second shot opportunities will do. Give you multiple shots at the basket. That time a point-blank shot. Nice shot by Carmelo Anthony.
Blake, 2-point shot, late arriving Petro.
A much better ball movement, though. They're quicker with their cutting, and they're quicker moving the basketball. It's what Nate McMillan talked to his team about. He said, we've got to move quicker, got to move the ball quicker, and you'll get better shots, and we've seen that here in the third quarter.
Blake has 2. He's averaging 11. J.R. Smith bouncing around like a pinball out there, and there's a foul called. With 9:29 to play, Roy picks up his first. First place at stake in the Northwest Division. Plus, at the worst, Doug, a split of the season series. But the winner here would go up 2-1 in the 3 games played and have first place in their paw.
Yeah, the 4th game will be played in Portland late in the season.
Billups over Batum. That was a 3. Prisbilla with the rebound. He's got 12. J.R. Smith is on Roy.
Wow.
He would not be stopped. Oh, and did he hurt his left knee? Did he bang it?
He got banged again as he split that double team. But Brandon Roy, he's such an efficient player, Kevin. I always say when you watch him play, you say, how does he get to where he's going on the floor? He doesn't look that quick or that fast or whatever, but he just gets to where he needs to go. Here's another turnover that's going to lead out for a Batum dunk, and all of a sudden, it is a 2-point game, and George Karl cannot be happy. Nate McMillan's got to be proud of his young team because they have heeded his half-court message, sort of like an evangelist there at halftime. I was pumped up, ready to go. And
I was too.
9-2 run here by Portland. Look at Brandon Roy splitting that double team. That's where he got banged by Petro. And right there you see the little bang to that left leg. A little teardrop over Nene. Denver 1 of 6 in this quarter.
The NBA on TNT, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. And by Sonic. Got a buck? Then try Sonic's new everyday value menu. Get all this for $1 each.
Last month, All-Star Chauncey Billups joined the NBA, Kaboom, and Adidas to help build a brand new playground at a park in the Phoenix area. As part of the NBA Cares All-Star Day of Service, more than 1,000 members of the NBA family created 10 new places where Phoenix families can live, learn, and play. Another example where the NBA is involved in the community and where caring happens.
After that big start by Denver in the first quarter, they're shooting 9 of 27 since that point in the game. After the slow start from Portland, they're 15 of 24. So the momentum swing has gone to Portland. Let's see if Denver can answer.
Nene trying to be aggressive inside on Prisbilla, and that's what George Karl told us. He said, we want to set the pace. We want to be aggressive. We know that the Blazers played last night. We want to come out and attack.
When you know you've got to go on the road tomorrow night, you heard Kenny and Charles talking about it. If you get a chance to get this team down, Portland in a back-to-back, you don't want to give them any life. As a turnover here as Nene knocks the ball off of Aldridge. But you know, we saw the Lakers do this last week against Phoenix. Phoenix was undermanned. They went into L.A., and L.A. had such a big lead that Kobe did not play in that fourth quarter, knowing they had to play again in a back-to-back in Denver. When you look ahead at that schedule, you need to know what's on the docket there, knowing that get as much rest as you can. And now they're in a dogfight here with Portland.
4 minutes gone in the third. Nene over Prisbilla. So he's hit a couple now. Nene has come out firing. He's got 13 points. He is 5 of 9, collecting 5 rebounds. He's having a career year. And a good game tonight. Roy, 5 of 10. Smith on him.
See, they've got Smith on Brandon Roy because J.R. Smith's a stronger guard. But you can see Brandon Roy is so clever. He's so crafty, steps back, shoots that little fading jump shot. He has the game of a much older guy.
Well, Portland, a young team, plays like an older team, don't they?
Well, I think in phases they do. I think at home they do. I think on the road sometimes is when you see their youth, their inexperience.
Nene again against Prisbilla. Batum got a hand on it. And off to Roy, ahead to Blake, around Billups to the trailing Batum! What a play and a pass by Blake, who put it perfectly with his 5th assist right there.
Now the aggressive defense, again, points off turnovers. Now that's 14 points off the Denver turnovers.
Batum watching Carmelo at the other end. Carmelo is 9 of 15. 2-on-1. Batum to Blake. Chauncey lets him fall. Rebound by Petro. Starting tonight for the injured Kenyon Martin. Back injury. One time, Denver led by 16 points. Here comes Petro. Led by the defensive Aldridge. Smith weaving and driving. Goaltend counted for 2. As Prisbilla got a hand on it and knocked it away.
Well, J.R. Smith has that ability when nothing is there to create his own shot. And you see a little of his strength here, the ability to covers that ball up and then gets the contact. And Prisbilla with the block shot, he's going to know to let that one go after he hears that whistle. So J.R. Smith trying to put his team back up by 5.
Do you think the Nuggets, Doug, are a very fragile team? Do you think they've got some wherewithal to them? I mean, when you stand back and look at them, what do you see?
Well, I think they can get emotional, and I think that's one of the things George Karl worries about. Is he wants, and I think he's hoping that, especially if they get themselves into a nice playoff situation where they can be a little bit more stable, where they don't, self-destruct under pressure, where we've seen them do in the past.
Anderson for Petro for the Nuggets. They quickly trap Roy. Blake, wide open, Batum for 3. Anderson, the late close. And the rebound is picked up by J.R. Smith. Smith is 6 of 10 with 15. Anthony leads the Nuggets with 19. 3 in double figures for Denver. The driving Nene right into Prisbilla, picked up by Batum. Blake 1 of 3. Knocked away by Anderson. Boy, when he gets in the game, he just brings energy.
Well, that's what you want to do as a bench player, especially defensive toughness in that lane. You know, Marcus Camby, one of the best shot blockers in the league, one of the best rebounders. They lost him A lot of speculation. Who's going to guard the basket for a porous Denver team that we saw last year when you give up your best defender, where the Birdman has stepped to the front and one of the better shot blockers, and has been a pleasant surprise here for George Karl and this team.
He's the best day-to-day influence player I've ever coached. And the guy that's close to him is Chauncey. Chauncey's the next guy that I'd put on that list. And you knew it 1 week with the team that he came to work only for one purpose: to get better, fix what was wrong, improve what we need to improve, and be committed to total unselfish mentality to the team.
Nate McMillan, who played for George Karl up in Seattle, calls him Coach K. He's also with another Coach K this past summer, but he said about George Karl, "I hear his voice every day when I coach my team."
Yeah, he's been such a great influence on him, and you could see a lot of this Portland personality from Nate McMillan and George Karl, the way he has coached his teams through the years.
Blake for three, Nene on the switch, and he got it over the 6'10" center for the Nuggets. Blake pops one in. He's got 5 in the game so far for the Portland Trailblazers. You see the three-point shooting. Screen by Nene on Roy. 3 by Billups, touche. Blake was defended. Outlaws come in for Prisbill. And Fry has come in the game as well for Batum. 2-on-1 Anthony and Billups. Blake was knocked out. He got caught up in the drive by Billups, and Carmelo Anthony dug with the game-high 21.
Well, that's normally when Denver is really at their best, when they create turnovers. But Portland is a team that does not turn the ball over. And George Karl talked to us before the game about they're a team that's very difficult to turn over. Here's the long jump shot missed once again. And here's the run out once again by Carmelo Anthony, who likes to leak out on that break. What happens, Kevin, is when you take a corner three, the guy who defends that, it's twice we've seen it now. Carmelo, this time he picks up the loose ball after Brandon Roy turned it over and gets the layup on one end. And this is twice where he's guarded the three-point line and snuck out and got the easy one. You have to have floor balance. When you get guys shooting out of that corner, your point guard's got to get back, and he's got to drag somebody back with him. And Portland did not do that, and Denver now twice has made them pay for that.
Blake picked up his first. Anthony now has 24. With a very good night shooting. Comes, of course, in the wake of his suspension. Foul called on Blake. Billups was knocked off stride. Do you think Carmelo Anthony, Doug, will ever be great? I mean, great?
I think he is great. I think that, he's a guy who can score. I think a lot of his game this year, he has given up to have a more balanced team. They're not running and getting out on the break again. I mean, he's a terrific player. I mean, the problem is he's in the class, with LeBron James and some of these guys he's compared to, Dwayne Wade in that draft class. Guys who are playing at the top of their games right now.
That's how he measures himself.
I think he's a terrific player. I mean, I don't know what the ceiling is going to be on him. He's still a very young guy.
Roy with the dance. Blake picked up by Melo. Nice defense by Carmelo. Not known for his defense. It tailed off last year, but he plays Blake very well there. Roy takes it across the lane. And that is a foul. Looked like Anderson got in there and drew the personal foul, and that is for Anderson his second. So you take a look at these names and you take a look at those numbers. He did not make the All-Star team this year, which he probably should have. He's been injured this season with an elbow in the hand, but I wonder if there's a day that he wakes up that he does not look at the top of that scoring list and see these other names and Doug measure himself against them like you were talking about and feel the pressure that is automatically associated because, as you said, they're in the same draft class.
Well, I think you always gauge your game against others, but at the end of the day, is your team winning? What's your role in helping that team win? And for Carmelo, he's got to get out of the first round of the playoffs. Yep. Every year they've been knocked out in the first round. And so that's why Chauncey Billups has been preaching all year to this team. A game in November is just as important as it is in April. If you're going to be able to try to get a seed, you get a 3 or 4 seed, get a home court, and give yourself a chance to get into that second round and see what happens. And Denver has not been able to do that.
Playing some. He'll come in for Nene. Denver had the 8-0 run until that free throw. Roy from the line is 3 of 7. From the field, he is 6 of 11. Here's Carmelo, 24 points. A 3 over Travis Outlaw. Rudy Fernandez has come in the game for the Blazers. He's got it. An open triple, slips to close. Bingo, he puts it down.
A bad shot always leads to a bad defensive possession, and Carmelo took that 3 that was contested, and then Fernandez comes right back down, knocks down a 3, so all of a sudden the game is back to 6, and Denver just cannot stand prosperity right now. They have become their own worst enemy. They get a lead and they take a couple bad shots, or they take a couple possessions off. And Portland, we've already seen, is a team that can come back on you. They've done it 14 times this year where they've been down double digits. They did it last night. They were down 10 with about 10 minutes to go in that game against Indiana, went on a 14-0 run. And if the game is close, Brandon Roy loves those moments. They're 7-1 this year. In games 3 or left, they've won 5 games this year by 1 point.
Fry picked up his third. Here comes Fernandez watching Billups count it in the foul. Rudy Fernandez thought he was playing Billups clean. Fernandez picks up the foul. That is his first.
Again, when I see a play like that, it just makes me think how the game is so different from when I played in the 70s, the 80s, or whatever. And the big difference is the strength of the players. Look at the size of Chauncey Billups. I mean, you look at a guy like LeBron James. LeBron James, I mean, is the size of Karl Malone, who's a power forward. Just the game, the size, the strength, the incredible athleticism of these players. And that's really where I see the game, just the strength and conditioning.
And Doug, what about Billups? You know, on the defensive end, he draws fouls. They stay there and take it. On the offensive end, he makes threes. Very few guys do that. Oh, what a block by Anderson! He took that ball and knocks it away.
Look at him. He's sort of combing his hair.
Oh, my goodness. 4 blocks by Anderson.
Wow, right in the face of Fernandez. So this adds insult to injury. Not only you get your shot blocked, but right in his face. Look at the Birdman.
Chauncey backs up. Roy was defending. Rebound by the Portland Trailblazers and LaMarcus Aldridge.
Big 220 here right now for both these teams. Can Denver push it into double digits? Can Portland cut into it going into the 4th quarter?
Jones on Fernandez. Kleza on Fry. Carmelo's on Outlaw. Oh, they got a defensive strip there, and Aldridge can take it right inside and jam, and the defenders, Doug, tripped over each other on that switch.
I'm not sure Aldridge liked Anderson posing after that shot block. It's a little message to him. I'll be doing that to my teammate. And here is Carmelo Anthony on that baseline dancing and getting a 3-point play. We're seeing some spectacular plays here the last 3 or 4 possessions, Kevin. Watch Aldridge here. This was after Birdman had sent one back at Fernandez, like, bam, don't do that to my teammate. And then Carmelo Anthony loves that baseline, and this is where his strength. He's a power player who likes to play in the paint, and if you can get him out on the perimeter shooting jump shots, you got a much better chance of defending him.
27 for Carmelo, 10 in the quarter. 10-point lead for Denver. Craig?
Well, you mentioned Chris Anderson posing after that block. What he was doing is running his hand through his hair. He's got several hairdos. Tonight it's the Birdzilla. That's because it is flipped straight back. When he has it spiked, it's called the Raging Rooster. But tonight we have the Birdzilla, so he is making sure that we notice. Kevin.
Raging Rooster. We're noticing. He's got feathers tattooed on his bicep. That is one. That is one strange bird. Here is Roy. And congratulations to Dwayne Wade and Pau Gasol. NBA Players of the Month presented by Kia Motors for February. Go to NBA.com/awards to see the plays that put Wade and Gasol on top. Roy with 16, staying right there.
Yeah, he's missed about, 5 free throws now, though. You look at the margin, it's 9, and he's missed 5 free throws, normally an 80% free throw shooter.
Kleza spins on Aldridge. Rebound by Outlaw. Rebounding basically the same in this game.
Always talk about closing quarters, Kevin. Who's going to do the best job out of here tonight?
Outlaw is open, late close by Kleza. That is a triple by Travis Outlaw. Continually comes off the bench. 11 points in 17 minutes.
Portland's had about 4 or 5 of those corner jump shots that they've not knocked down tonight.
Anthony guarded by Aldridge.
Wow, nice little running hook shot.
He's taking over, huh?
But I like it. He's getting in the paint. He shot that long three that led to a 3 by Portland. This time he's come back the last 2 possessions and gone right to that paint where he's most effective.
29 for Carmelo. No fouls to give. 13 on the shot clock here. Roy. Guarded by Jones. Rebound by Kleza.
Got a 2-for-1 possession here. Chauncey loves to walk right into a 3 here. Portland better be real wary of this. And they are.
Kleza. Late arriving Aldridge. Big time 3 by Les Kleza out of the University of Missouri. 6 triples hit by the hometown Nuggets tonight. 5 for the Blazers.
George Karl is already all the way down on the other side of the court here, coaching his team on this last possession.
Roy is 6 of 12. Guarded by Jones. Fry. The fake by Fernandez. They come at him in waves. He was whacked as he shot. Will not count. And Denver builds their lead to 11. It was down to 2.
Well, 3 big possessions. Chauncey Billups had 5 points with a couple plays, and then the big 3 by Kleza.
Down to a 2-point game. The Nuggets close on a 19-10 run. First place at stake here tonight in Denver. We're back in Denver where the NBA tonight is presented by the United States Marine Corps. Nuggets on top by 11. They've led by as many as 16. They're coached by George Karl, who moments ago was interviewed by our Craig Sager.
Well, Coach, after Portland cut it down to a 2-point game, you're able to extend it now to 11. How comfortable do you feel with an 11-point lead going to the 4th at home?
Well, we've been good all year, so I got to be comfortable. But Portland's a good team, and I think it's going to be some battles. I would rather have an 11-point lead with about 2 minutes to go.
Brandon Roy is the one that usually sparks their comebacks in the 4th quarter. Who will defend Brandon Roy down the stretch?
Right now, Dante Jones will be there. Maybe Melo sometimes. JR's been good. He was good against a kid named Kobe a couple of nights ago.
All right, thanks a lot. Back to you, Kevin.
J.R. Smith held Kobe to 10 of 31 from the field. Here is Jones across the lane, and he traveled right there. Anderson, Jones, Anthony, Billups, and Kleza, the Denver 5 to begin the 4th. Out there is Fernandez, Prisbilla, along with Aldridge, Blake, and Outlaw for the Blazers.
Well, Denver is 18-1 at home when they are leading after 3, but you can see some of the struggles. They are 2-5 in that stretch. Really, the only 4th they won was the game against the Lakers, where they were +8. So let's see if they can finish the deal tonight against a Portland team that is known to come back. It's a foul.
Boy, but he was held. You could see the jersey of Aldridge being held by Anderson, and no call was made as he was making that spin. It was very blatant. Nonetheless, no call. It goes up against McMillan's Blazers. Second foul called on LaMarcus Aldridge. Anthony has got 29 game high. Screen by Kleza. Switch on defense. Aldridge guards Carmelo.
He can make that mid-range shot.
Yes, he can.
And what he did was, if you watch, he had a bigger man on him, and he sort of took a dribble at the guy to get him to step back, Aldridge, and then he just pulled up and knocked down that jump shot in a great rhythm. So he used the dribble to get into the rhythm of his shot.
Nuggets right now on a 7-0 run. Good fake by Fernandez. He leans into Jones on that shot. Was it a 2-point try? It was a 2-point try. Holding on to his jersey right there. Great job by Gary Hasselness and Matt Cunningham are 2 of our many very good camera people here in Denver tonight. Birdman, his claws, his talons got inside the jersey. Here's Rudy Fernandez at the free throw line for the Portland Trailblazers, who Doug did not make a trade at the deadline a couple weeks ago, even though they may have been seduced in some ways for a Vince Carter or whoever, but they're really staying patient with this team, aren't they?
They didn't want to make any long-term contractual decisions to a guy who might hamstring them for something they want to do down the road. Now remember, we've not seen Greg Oden here tonight. They're hoping to get him back soon. They missed Greg Oden, obviously. He and Prisbilla, very good two-headed center in there. Both of them bring shot blocking and rebounding and some defense. I think Craig Sager might have something about Greg Oden. Craig?
Well, actually, Greg Oden was given a clearance today to start jogging. This is the 9th game he's missed with that chip bone in his knee suffered just before the All-Star game. He also has been lifting some weights, doing some stationary bicycle work, and they say he'll be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. But good news is he was able to start jogging today.
He also missed some games early in the season. Without Oden, the Portland Trailblazers are 10-4. Kleza against Prisbilla. But Doug, against good teams, without Oden, only 4-4.
Well, they're 1-11 against the top other 8 teams on the road in the NBA. That's the big thing right now with Portland. They're so great at home, but are they going to find a way to beat the better teams on the road in the Western Conference?
On the switch, Klaiza's on Fernandez. Shot clock down to 5. A 3 by Rudy. Way off. Pretty good defense by Klaiza. The ball sails out of bounds.
That's a bad possession there. You know, Nate McMillan talked to us before the game, and he said, we've got to move the ball. And that time, Fernandez had one thought on his mind. He saw Klaiza, and he thought he could shake him and get the jump shot. Klaiza actually did a nice job and forced him into a very, very difficult shot. So Nuggets still with a 13-point lead here and seem to be very much in control right now.
Roy is in for Prisbilla. Denver has hit their last 5. Billups, 3 of 11. Jones, who came off the bench with his first basket tonight in his first try. In 14 minutes, he's got 2.
Well, he's made his game here with Denver. They were looking for a guy to come in and start a game and give them some defensive presence. He's done that. George Karl said it was time to move J.R. Smith into the starting lineup. He thought that over the last 60 games, there's Carmelo sprinting to the bench. Oh, look at him laughing. Look at Kenyon Martin over there.
I like that.
He got the message.
Glad our guys caught that in the truck. Biggest lead for Denver, 16, shooting 55%. Carmelo's got 31 points to lead all scorers. And Doug, as you survey the top 3 teams in the Northwest Division, you got a different way of your own formula for trying to figure this out.
Well, I'm going the Doug Moe theory here, the great coach of the Denver Nuggets. He takes road wins versus home losses. That would be plus 10 for the Nuggets. So you would take that in a 41-game season, or 41 games would be a 500. So they're plus 10 right now. So they're playing at a 51 win. The Blazers are playing at plus 8, which would be 49. The Jazz plus 5 at 46. So right now the Nuggets in the driver's seat if they continue to play at the same pace.
Bayless has come in for Fernandez. Double teamed. Outlaw hits another shot outside. He's got 13, 6 of 9. Anderson was on him. Bayless on Billups. 9.5 to play. The winners in first. Denver may stay there. Portland trying to get there. Aldridge gets the loose ball on the layup by Nene.
Well executed play. Nene very upset. He missed an easy shot.
Switch on defense. Now they got Anderson on Blake. It's Bayless shedding Billups. Blake looks around. The little ball fake right there. Buys him an open shot from triple territory.
Yeah, Portland will not go away. I mean, this is a team that's going to fight you to the finish, and Denver is going to have to run their plays, get good shots.
Blake has 8 points and 5 assists. Billups, 3 of 11. Bayless reaching in, picks up the foul. Young Jarrett Bayless, first foul. Here comes J.R. Smith. There goes Dante Jones. Nice scoring balance for the Denver Nuggets this season. Now tonight, we've got 5 in double figures, including 4 starters.
Well, they've had 7 guys this year lead them in scoring in a game. 8 if you count Allen Iverson early in the season, as opposed to last year when Iverson and Carmelo Anthony as a tandem averaged over 52 a game. This year, much more balanced. They're playing a different offense. They're not taking nearly as many shots. And so they're playing a little bit different tempo this year.
And then he goes crashing into Roy, who took it right there. Nice job, offensive foul. You get a big body like Nene going down that lane, you know you're going to take a wallop, and that's exactly what Roy anticipated and got. 3 on Nene.
Right there, Brandon Roy, here's your best player stepping up and taking a charge on the biggest, strongest player of the Denver Nuggets. Right again here at a little under 9 minutes, and Portland trying to get this lead back under double digits.
Foul. Anderson. He and Outlaw were clawing at each other. fourth on Chris Anderson, who had missed some time with the drug suspension, missed 2 years. He joined New Orleans late last season. Played just 34 minutes, signed here as a free agent. And with Camby gone, they're looking for an active body defensively, and he provides that on some nights. Here's a mismatch. Bayless driving in on the name. And that is a foul. A travel.
Well, Jared Bayless right now is a young player, very strong. You can see he's very powerfully built, and right now he doesn't trust his outside jump shot, so everything with him is trying to get into the paint and get to the foul line, and he's going to have to learn to pull up and shoot that jump shot. Here he is arm wrestling with Chauncey Billups and gets the foul. And one of the things, Kevin, coming down in the fourth quarter, we always talk about the importance of getting into the penalty, being able to get to that line and make free throws.
Bayless picks up his second. Bayless and Billups, Aldridge and Nene. Now they double Nene with Outlaw. Roy. Clayza with the shot. Roy came over to defend.
Plays the shot at will tonight. Now he's 13 points. He's hit a couple big shots for him. He's one of those wild cards off the bench. He can be very streaky. He can go 1 for 8 one night and hit 8 of 10 the next.
5 of 9 tonight. There's a Denver foul. Did Anderson pick that up? He did. He's got 5. Nuggets came into tonight having lost 2 straight under George Karl, 5 of their last 7. With their 2 wins over last year's pace, here comes Carmelo after a quick breather, and Anderson will go take a seat on the bench.
Now, one of the things they lose with him, obviously, is ability to defend the lane. So let's see if Portland will try to take that ball to the basket with no shot blocking in there.
Plate for 3, defended by Billups. Rebound by Nene. His 5th rebound. Smith the other way. Nene with a screen. 7.5 to play. Carmelo 14 of 21. Good fake on Roy. Rebound by Outlaw.
A nice job that time by Brandon Roy. Actually, Carmelo Anthony was really seeking the contact, and Brandon Roy went away from him and stayed away from that foul. It's going to be an offensive foul here on LaMarcus Aldridge as he tried to carve some space in the post against Nene.
That's the 3rd on LaMarcus, much to the surprise of Nate McMillan. Blazers shooting 49%. Nuggets shooting 54%. I think Denver's been over 50% the entire game.
They had the one stretch where they just did not shoot it well. They had that second, third quarters. They were 9 of 27, but they were so hot to start the game.
Billups inside the Nene, who hands off to Clayza, who beats Outlaw to the rim and gained terrific position. Clayza Doug has scored outside, inside, 15 points in 20 minutes.
That's 44 points in the paint for Denver. When this game was a 2-point game, it was 28 all. Now it's plus 14 in the paint for Denver. That's how important it is for them to get in the lane and not shoot those long jump shots.
Good point. Here's the drive, the slicing move by Brandon Roy. He's got 18.
You know what I love about him is, although he's a right-handed player, he loves to finish with that left hand around the basket.
And you take a look at assists over the last 3 seasons for this Nugget team in their record.
That's a bad shot. Chauncey tried to draw the foul, but nobody blocking Nene out. So Chauncey Billups got bailed out that time. You know, Kevin, how much he loves to pump fake, get you in the air. Did not get the contact, but Nene on that offensive backboard. So 2 more points in the paint, a chance for a 3-point play.
2 fouls on Outlaw. Here's Nene. National coverage of the NBA continues. Tomorrow, ESPN, Cavs and Celtics, then the Nuggets and Jazz. Coverage at 7:30 Eastern Time. Sunday on ABC, Suns and Spurs. They'll tip it off at 3 p.m. and Tuesday on NBA TV. Fan Night Mavs take on the Suns. Coverage 7 o'clock with NBA Game Time. Blake again covered by Nene. Outlaw, the mismatch on Chauncey Billups. Size-wise. Great drive by Outlaw on Chauncey Billups. 15 for Travis, who picks up Carmelo Anthony at the other end. Anthony with 33.
Well, Outlaw tried to draw the offensive foul. It was not to be called. Here's Bayless once again trying to take that ball to the basket. J.R. Smith is going to be called on the foul, but you can see Bayless, when he gets that ball in his hands, he has one thought in his mind, that's getting to that basket.
And a timeout taken, 5.5 to play in this fourth quarter. Carmelo Anthony, a game that he plays after the suspension, has got 33 points in 34 minutes. Denver 7 of 10 from the field in this fourth quarter.
How about this doubleheader on Thursday, March the 12th? The Lakers and Spurs.
The two best teams in the West, so it's a big game, and I can't wait to see it. The key for me is, can the Lakers guard Tim Duncan? They've never proven that they actually can guard this guy.
LeBron in the Valley of the Sun.
He is one of the transcendent players of our generation. I mean, the new Lick Suns, we got to really see if this works.
Lakers, Spurs, and Cavaliers Suns next Thursday at 8, presented by the United States Marine Corps, only on TNT. The NBA on TNT, brought to you by Charles Schwab. Need some help? Do something about it. Talk to Chuck. Charles Schwab. By T-Mobile G1 with Google. Everything you love about the web, now on a phone. By American Airlines. We know why you fly. We're American Airlines. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Beautiful night in Denver. Nuggets with a 15-point lead. Time now for the Marines. Play of the game turned in by the Birdman with a nice defensive play inside.
Well, one of his 4 blocks, he sends it right back at Rudy Fernandez here. That insult to injury goes right in his face, and as Craig Sager said, one of his haircuts or one of his hairstyles, that's the Birdzilla, letting everybody know.
Did you ever have the Birdzilla, Coach? Huh?
I had a lot of different hairstyles.
I know you did.
Mine now is...
all of them good, by the way, too.
Now I have no hair.
All of them? No, you're doing all right. Portland cut the margin to 2 points on 3 separate occasions during the third quarter. Denver closed the third on a 19-10 run. Second game in as many nights for the Portland Trailblazers, who beat Indiana last night in Portland by 2. It's tough on the second of a back-to-back in this altitude to come out and keep that momentum.
Plus, you're playing uphill the whole night. You get down 3 times. They got it to within 2. Never could get the lead. And it looks like if Denver will take care of the ball here, they're going to be able to finish this game off. What I like what they're doing now is they're taking that ball right inside and getting to the paint, either scoring layups or getting to the free throw line. 48 points in the paint now for Denver. They're plus 14, and we said one of the things we talked about before the game was strength versus strength. Portland normally does a very good job defending the paint, and tonight Denver has had the big advantage there.
Looks like the shooting slump for Carmelo's over. I came into this game, the last 2 games he had played, only 29% from the field.
You know, sometimes you get a day off, and obviously you don't want to get a day off through a suspension.
Right.
But sometimes your legs are a little bit fresher, and he's playing with very fresh legs tonight. This is that point in time of the season, Kevin. You played 60, 61 games, and, you know, you start getting into the dog days, getting into those playoffs.
But, Doug, now you've got just the final quarter of the season remaining. Aldridge defended by Anthony, rebound by Clayson. 20 games left, give or take a couple, depending on what team you are. So, I mean, it really now is becoming magnified.
And in this Western Conference, I mean, you can be in 3rd place today in the West and be in 8th in about 10 days if you have a slip-up.
Nice pass by Nene. Inside Carmelo. 37 points.
You can see Portland has just run out of juice right now.
Carmelo's got 37 points and 16 shots from the field.
Kevin, I talked about also, too, that 100-point barrier for Portland, especially on the road, is Brandon Roy with that, again, with that sweet left hand on the baseline. But I didn't think that Portland could win a game tonight if it was going to be a 110, 112-point game. And unless Denver really falls asleep here, they're going to end up with about 110, 112, maybe even 115 points tonight.
Well, he's got 20 points for the Portland Trailblazers. Here is Nene. Denver shooting 56% from the floor. Phillips is open, late closed by Bayless. Chauncey tonight, 3 of 13, 10 points.
He'd been on such a roll. He'd averaged 29 over his last 4 games.
You're right.
Had a big game in Detroit, had 34.
Here's the West, Doug.
Look at that, though. 22, you're in 3rd. 27th, you're in 9th. So 25th year, 3 games out of 8, just what I talked about.
And I look at the top because remember last year, Doug, the LA Lakers won the conference, but only by 3 games. Now they've got an 8.5 game lead over the second place team in the West, the San Antonio Spurs. Roy over Klaiza.
Brandon Roy once again with that sweet jump shot. But you know, when you talk about the playoffs in the West, you talk about getting in. Well, you finish 8th, you're going to get the Lakers. That's not going to be a draw for you. So you're going to get to that 6th spot or whatever, that working margin. Looks like the Spurs are going to have the 2nd best record. There's J.R. Smith. It's like Portland right now, just a step behind on everything, and Denver just dominating that painted area.
Points in the paint. Doug talked about it beginning of the game. Portland was amongst the best in defending those easy points, and Denver amongst the best in the NBA in getting them. Roy missing. Klaiza defending. Offensive rebound by Blake. Rejected by Nene. Here comes Klaiza. He'll come the other way. So you knew something had to give, and it looks like Denver won that battle.
Yeah, it's the slow start really that did Portland in. They battled so valiantly to get back in the game, but you can just see right now that Denver's having their way. They're a half step quicker. They've got fresher legs.
J.R. Smith does 36 minutes, 17 points. Flies inside, almost unstoppable. One of the emerging young talents in this game.
If he could be consistent, he has all-star talent.
A couple hours ago, Doug, these were the headlines you thought coming into this game that we should watch. Let's go over them once again.
Well, the paint, we talked about easy scores plus 16, and that's when the game really changed, when Denver was able to get back into the painted area, rebounding Denver, plus 3 offensive rebounding. Bench Sparks, Anderson 4 blocks, Klaiza 15 points, and then Roy versus Anthony. Anthony tonight 37 points. And has had a huge bounce back after that suspension. I think Carmelo's happy to get this game back under his belt. I know George Karl is. To put that behind them as they move forward, and they're going to have to jump on a plane here, go to Salt Lake City, and play a very, very tough and hot Utah Jazz team.
Newly acquired Michael Ruffin has come in for Outlaw. Nene picked up by Ruffin. Anthony, 16 of 25 tonight. And fouled as he takes it around. Doug, at home, Portland has been terrific. 10 consecutive wins. Bayless picks up the foul. Nate McMillan has constructed a record of 25-5 at home. But on the road, when they lose tonight, they'll be 13-18. Are you concerned about what they're doing on the road?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the growth. I mean, you know, as a young team, you're going to be better at home. They have great fans. And Nate is trying to teach this team the toughness, the tenacity that you have to play with on a nightly basis to be able to go out on the road and win games. And tonight, whether it was fatigue, they dug themselves a hole early. They fought like crazy to try to get out. They got to within 2-3 different times, but could never get over the top and just ran out of gas here tonight. And Carmelo Anthony has been brilliant. He got some nice play from Nene. J.R. Smith was 17, 15 from Klaiza off the bench.
Bad miss by Bayless. I guess all misses are bad, but that one really looked bad. Batum watching a 3-point shot by Carmelo.
Carmelo's going for 40 here. That would have given him 40.
He's got 38 and 38. Ruffin inside. Rebound by Klaiza. 54% shooting for the Nuggets. Klaiza outside. And Johan Petro took the place of the injured Kenyon Martin tonight. So here are some of the additions made by some of the teams. Mikey Moore and Stephon Marbury at the top of that list for contending teams.
Yeah, all the teams that think they have a chance. The Boston Celtics with Mikey Moore and Marbury. And Drew Gooden today finally signed with the San Antonio Spurs. That's a big pickup for them to put him on that front line with Tim Duncan, and he gives you that versatility. That's a big pickup for them.
Jason Hart, who was just let go by the Clippers, has just checked in with the Denver Nuggets. They really believe in 3 guards come playoff time. J.R. Smith the miss. Klaiza chases down the loose ball.
I think one of the things that George Karl's always said, the importance of that 3rd point guard, and you see it tonight. Anthony Carter's out with a hip injury. And he said the last thing you can do is get into the playoffs. You lose one of your point guards. And that because that's a person that has that ball in their hands and is creating all the opportunities, getting into your offense. And so George getting a little insurance with Jason Hart.
Sonny Weems is coming in for Smith. He's a second-round draft pick rookie. Is Weems out of Arkansas? Actually, he was a second-round pick by Chicago, and his rights were traded to Denver. Sonny Weems. Last we saw Weems, he was at the All-Star game, serving as a prop. Channing Frye out there. Ruffin comes up with the loose ball. The Portland Trailblazers will drop to 38-23, road record of 13-18. And their 3-game winning streak will come to a halt. They will be tied in second place with the Utah Jazz, a game and a half in back of the Denver Nuggets. Utah has the tiebreaker right now with the Blazers, as you're keeping track of where these teams are working their way through. They've beaten Portland twice this season.
You know, Denver's goal going into this year was to get to 40 wins before they got to 20 losses. They weren't able to do that because they stumbled here in the last 7 games, only 2-5. I think, you know, one of these games like this you play tonight. We'll see how they now go to Utah. Said before, you see Chauncey and Carmelo. Chauncey did not shoot the ball well, but his usual floor game, had 9 assists in the ball game tonight. Carmelo back in the swing with 38. Now you got to go on the road to Utah, and you're going to be facing tonight what Portland did in a back-to-back. And Kenyon Martin, will he play tomorrow night? He's been out with back spasms.
Denver with the win will go to 40-22, home record of 23-7. They'll win their 3rd consecutive home game. Hart makes the shot. He has bounced around the NBA as Jason Hart, 8 years out of Syracuse, 7 different teams. Most recently with the Clippers, where he played 29 games. Here's Sergio Rodriguez. Hart tried to come up with it. Ruffin knocks him down.
Sergio Rodriguez has not played well tonight. He came in the first half, and it just not has been a factor tonight. That's why Nate McMillan went to Jared Bayless.
He's coming off a poor season anyway. Yes, Rodriguez.
Yeah, Sergio has not played well. It's been up and down and stuff. You know, he looks very thin. I didn't remember him being that thin, but he looks very thin. I don't know if it gets worn down by the season.
Here is Hart at the free throw line. TNT's best bad girl is back. Join Holly Hunter and the rest of the cast in an all-new episode of Saving Grace, Monday at 10, 9 Central, only on TNT. Well, this was an anticipated game. It didn't give us perhaps the fireworks we wanted, although 3 separate times in the 3rd quarter, the Blazers dug came within 2 points of Denver, and the resiliency of the Nuggets held on. Right by Rodriguez. And off to Nicolas Batum, 19 years of age from France. Good win, and now this is the 3rd game these 2 teams have played this season. And the Denver Nuggets will go up 2-1. They will play on the final day of the regular year, April 15th.
And who knows, that could be for the Northwest Division title. We'll have to see what happens.
Denver shoots 53%. Carmelo puts in 38. They got 15 off the bench from Glazer. And the Trailblazers got a Blazer Eye 22 from Roy. 9 of 16, 4 assists. Well, good night for Carmelo Anthony, who is standing by with our Craig Sager.
Well, that was the Carmelo Anthony night from start to finish. 38 points, 38 minutes. How comfortable were you out there? And do you think possibly by missing the game the other night, your frustrated legs and felt better?
I don't know. This was a must-win for us. I told my team we needed this win. Let's get back playing the way we was playing, early in the season. Putting them losses behind us and getting rolling these last couple games.
You said a must-win. You're now a game and a half up on both Utah and Portland in the division. How key is it to win that division and get the home court advantage in the first round?
That's what we're fighting for. We want home court advantage. But first of all, we want to finish this season off strong.
You talked about how you would react to the suspension. You said when you get something for tonight, you're going to sprint to the bench, which you did. Well, what was the reaction from your teammates who went sprinting over to join them?
I mean, it was just a good hustle, man. I learned my lesson from that, from that mistake the other day. I moved on. Actually, I forgot about it. I forgot about it already.
We'll forget about it as well for you. Did your apology. Earlier in the telecast, Kevin Harlan said, Carmelo's such a great player, but I wonder if he wonders and looks at the standings, sees how his buddies like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade are doing since they were your teammates this summer in the gold medal. Do you check around the league and see where everybody is and how they're doing?
I watch everybody. I watch the whole NBA. But I'm me. I'm not LeBron. I'm not D-Wade. I'm Carmelo Anthony.
Well, great game tonight.
Thank you.
Back to you, Kevin.
Great job, Segs. Thank you very much. And Doug, as always, a pleasure.
Thanks, Kev.
Big win tonight for the Denver Nuggets. They hold on to first place in the very tight Northwest Division. A big one tomorrow against the Utah Jazz. You're watching TNT, the exclusive home of the Eastern Conference Finals. Our producer, Scott Cockrell, our director, Lonnie Dale. For Craig Sager and Doug Collins, Kevin Harlan saying good night from the Rockies as we now take you to our TNT Arena. And our glue, Ernie Johnson.
Hey, thank you.